So guys, here's another Five Below product, the Bytech Infinity sound. Now you see the price tag right here, $8, but there's a good thing about this headset. Now, if you flip it over, you know how most Five Below headsets have a 4-hour battery life, 3-hour battery life, 9 hours, 10 hours total, right? Well, this one does have 4 hours in the ear, but the case holds 16 hours. So it means you get a total of 20. 4 charges out of the case, a whopping 4, and then you have the 4 hours already in the headset. Now it is Bluetooth 5.3. The charging time is up to 1 hour. We have USB-C. Not going to talk about the capacity of the power bank because that won't make a difference to the average person since you're using it strictly for charging your earphones anyway, so no big deal on that end. Up to 33 feet roughly in Bluetooth, so it is Bluetooth 5.3. So if you're using a device that also has Bluetooth 5.3 or 5.2, something newer, your connectivity, in theory, should actually be a lot better. Now, there's no IP rating, which is fine. Not too concerned about that. Superior sound, so it says auto pairing, which is basically opening up the case and letting the earbuds compare to the right and left. And lastly, and this is the feature that probably is more defining for anyone that's using this, you have your battery meter on the outside, and it shows the left bud and the right bud charging. With that being said, it is $8. You know, temper your expectations. It is Five Below, but something tells me it's probably going to be good. Let's get right into the review and not waste any more time. So as soon as you pop open the box, I just did the pleasure of taking everything out for you. It comes with your USB-C cable, which is pretty short, but just use the one that you already have for your Samsung devices, your iPhone 15, things like that, or just regular Androids. What I would suggest is if you have a charger that's more than 30 watts, or I'll say more than 20 watts, you might want to just use a computer or a regular wall outlet, you know, something that you can connect to the end of this cord or another charger that you have, because you don't want to use a OnePlus charger. That's like 60 watts. My chargers are 55, 60, 125 watts, things like that, because I use OnePlus chargers, so I don't want to burn out the product. You do have your wingtips, not wingtips, these are your ear tips right here, small. I want to assume that these are large, and I want to assume that medium's already on this. Now, I'm guessing I'm probably going to have to switch these out, maybe, depending to get bigger sound. The bigger the earbud, the more bass and sound you get. But the smaller it is, the more, I guess you could say, direct the vocals are, at least in my experience. Of course, this does matter depending on your ear size too. So, you know, kind of be aware of that. So you have your ear tips. You do have your actual instruction booklet right here. And for you guys that bought this and lost the instruction booklet, here we go right here. So it actually shows you how to remove the remove the earbuds out of the case. That's what you normally do. And then they will sync to one another, the left and the right, and then you'll be good to go from right here. It tells you your specs. 1 tap answers calls, resume music. 2 taps skips the song. 3 taps enables Siri and Google. So it looks like this doesn't have volume control, but it does have these features. So for you guys out there that are wondering if you can change the volume from this, looks like you can't. Instead, you could pause, play, change the songs. You will have to use your smartwatch or your actual phone itself to turn the volume up or down. To me, that's not really a big deal. You are paying $8 for the product, and so far, at least based on what it's offering, it's pretty good so far. I feel like I reviewed this before. This looks very familiar. I could be wrong. I think it was something that I got from Ross previously. This looks very, yeah, this is a different product, so it's not the same, but it looks very, very similar. So if you look at the actual case itself, you have your USB-C on the side. You rarely see that. I kind of expected that to be on the back, but it looks like if you're holding it from the front, your right side and the headset's left side, because if you know, it'd be facing the front. Don't mind me. This is the USB-C right here. As soon as you pop it open, it's a little hard to get open. No push button or anything like that. Here's the earbud itself. You don't have to worry about any plastic. Now, this is what I will say. If you find any type of plastic film on this, take it off. That's blocking the charger port that you see right here, and then it has to snap in, and that is how it connects, and then you can see the actual battery life. Now, what I will say is it's a solid 79% right now while the battery is going up on my end, but because this is a screen recording, meaning I'm taking a camera recording another screen, that's why it's flickering the way that it is. It doesn't actually look like this. It's actually a solid light when it's in front of you. Please do be aware of that. So far, this looks pretty cool. So when you look at the light outside, this is the clearest battery indicator light I have ever seen from a product for this price tag. This is very, very clear. Normally, there are a little big jumbo letters that look like something like the old alarm clocks, but this is very concise, very clear. If you're outside, which I have 2 pairs of these just in case you guys know, you don't have a problem seeing your battery life. So far, it works pretty well. Let me not jump the gun. So far, it looks pretty good. I don't think there's a person out there that will have a problem with it outside of maybe the white color. It's going to get dirty very, very fast, and you can see the actual buds charging with the little faint red lights in front of you. It's easier for me to see, but a little harder for you guys. There you go. Then you can see it. So far, it's a pretty cool looking headset. It does the job, at least aesthetically pleasing. Let's see, is it all around decent? Sound, call quality, these are the things that actually matter when it comes to buying a headset. And for the $8, it's looking pretty good so far. So the sync process we talked about earlier in the video, but I want to show it to you in real time so you guys can see it. So first things first, it should be a groove to make this easier to pop open. It can be a little difficult. Oh, here we go. It's a little groove in the front of the headset right there. I didn't notice that because of the white. So you're going to open this up, take one earbud out, take the other earbud out, go ahead and close your case. Right now, they're going to blink. They're communicating with each other. One is pairing to the other in sync mode. Now you can use these individually, left and right ear by itself, but you do have to sync them. So right here, here's the sync. It's a little laggy. I haven't turned this tablet on in probably, I don't know, a week or 2, and it wasn't charged, so don't mind me. So right here, we're going to press pair, and I'm just going to wait for this to pop up. So far, I see IDW19. I see a BYBE156. So let me see which one this is. I'm gonna have to take a guess, unfortunately. Okay. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna guess it's IDW, the Infinity Ward. That's what I'm gonna guess. Let me tap that. See what happens. Oh, it didn't work. So it must be BYBE156. I'm gonna do that. I don't know where this came from. Get out of here. See if it syncs. Yep, that is the product. The BYBE156 is the name of this headset, even though they call it the Infinity Sound. That might be the official name on the box as selling a product, but when it comes to Bluetooth syncing, it's going to be called the BYBE156, and very simplistic. So that's how you sync it. Now, for anyone that has any problems, just so you know, these right here are touch buttons. There is probably a way to manually power these on and power them off in case they're not synced. That's going to be for another video. So with that being said, we're good to go. Let's go into the next section. So let's test the music in real time. As you can see, I'm popping these earbuds out. I'm going to put them in my ear right now. Just so you guys know, for transparency reasons, the application that I'm using to play music is just a basic file manager. I already have the song on here. There is no type of edits, meaning the equalizer, there's nothing on. It is as is, pure, raw, nothing. No software, no anything. I do want to also be transparent because of the size of the rubber tip. I hate the size of the rubber tip. It's super small. I did have to switch it over to the large tips, but to be honest, the large are basically mediums. Okay. They don't sound too bad. They don't sound bad at all. It is a little lackluster. Like, it does sound like it's a tad bit underwater, meaning that it feels like a hand is covering the microphone, but the volume is still there. Let's see how loud it is right now. All right, the bass is about to drop. Pray for my ears. Okay. Rambo. I get a handle. Pink, I got it. Taking off of my money. Bop, bop, bop. I got it. Okay, it sounds pretty good. I like them. They do actually sound very, I'm not gonna say very, very good, but they sound okay. So let's talk about the pros and the cons of this headset. Like I said before, I have more than one pair. I'm not one of those people where I buy a product, rip it open immediately, and then tell you guys, buy it after 5 seconds of using it. No, I normally have it for a excessive amount of time before I post a video. So in this particular case, I like the way the headset looks. We talked about the physical appearance. Here's the problem that I'm having. Number one, when I put these guys inside my ears, which I'll talk to you about that probably in the next part or so, they fit uncomfortable in the ear, meaning the shape of the earbuds themselves, like when they go into your ear, this is thicker than what it should be. And because the rubber tip isn't really big, it's not even cut properly, if we're being honest here, in the oval shape, normally earbuds are much, what's the word I'm looking for here, even around the circle. So you can obviously change this tip if you want to. I actually have done that with my personal earbud tips, and it changed the complete sound of the headset. It sounds fine. But for the average person, you're not necessarily going to do that because you're paying $8 for these. You're probably going to use what it comes with. It's only going to be a music enthusiast that likes certain feel that's going to actually change the rubber tips to something that they personally own. So I know it's a niche market for that. But we're going based on how it felt wearing these, because that's what's more important. Initially, when I first started using the smaller rubber tips, there was practically no bass whatsoever. I mean, the rubber tip barely even fit into my ear deep enough in the ear canal where I would feel any rumbles of bass to begin with. There's that. Changed them to the larger tips, which are really mediums in my opinion. And to be honest, they should have came with large tips, mediums, and smalls, not extra small, and then medium. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, it's cheap rubber. How much can it cost to really get decent rubber tips, right? So what ends up happening is that it doesn't directly fit in my ear, but then I did twist it a certain way where it was snug and secure. Cool. The process of that made it where my ear felt a little bit sore with the design, and it was pressing against the inside of my ear, so it did cause a little ear soreness. But at first I was like, okay, I got accustomed to it because I just adjusted again. It felt fine. When you play music at the highest octave with these, the bass isn't really that great. The music quality, honestly, isn't that great. It's average at best. I give it like a 4 out of 5. It's a little bit below average because I've had other earbuds that sound substantially better at 5 below. I'm only comparing these to 5 below headsets, nothing else. The bass was there kind of, but it felt like off bass. It didn't feel organic. Like if you were to take this to FL Studio, or here's an example. Let's say you listen to First Shooter Mode. You know that song has bass. You listen to it on these, you'll still be bopping your head because you like the song, but you could definitely tell that the earbud can't produce the quality of bass that's necessary for you to vibe out in particular songs. It's good enough to get you to where you need to be, but I would suggest a pair of cheap Skull Candies or something for that much better quality bass. If we're talking about vocals, the vocals were there, but again, it sounded like it was secondary to everything else in the song. Like, it didn't sound clear. It didn't sound concise. It sounded like robotic, kind of, where it was like a slight echo after you hear the person speak. Again, it doesn't bother me, honestly, because I deal with so many headphones, but I can understand that a music lover might buy these and say, I'm not really feeling it. And the main reason is going to be because the rubber tips they're just too small, or because they're oval shaped trying to replicate AirPods rather than regular, I don't know, like Soundcores that have more rounded earbuds. It just doesn't really fit that properly. It'll fit some people just fine, and you guys will have no issue whatsoever, and you'll disregard everything that I'm saying. But I'm referring to people with my ear shape where you got like normal to bigger size earlobes. It's like you need a more snug fit. So you might have to get your own rubber tips for these. Instruments played just fine. As a matter of fact, believe it or not, the original song that I played by mistake, that song actually was like, it seems like a lot of music that involves instruments, violins, different things like that dominate with the headset. So when I played a gorilla song, the vocals, well, there's no vocals in that particular song, but the background aesthetic, the vibing, the music, the waves, just the feeling, it definitely washed over you. That's the way their music is. It's like vibing music, and it did a really good job of that. And when the bass came in, I was like, oh yeah, this joint have no bass. It's average bass at best. But everything else, vocals, the instruments sound much, much, much louder than the bass, and that doesn't really make good for a decent mix. But like I said before, for $8, you're getting 4 hours of battery life, 16 in the case. If you have your own rubber tips at home or earbuds that stop malfunctioning, and you just want to take those rubber tips off, you like them better and they fit you fine, put them on this and you'll have a much better experience. Put it that way. Anyway, let's go on to the next section. So guys, I mentioned earlier about the headset not feeling super comfortable. Let me explain why. So when they go in, they are snug, but if you look at the shape, this part right here is a little bigger than the average earbud. It looks like they tried to replicate like a sound cord and a AirPod at the same time. You could definitely tell that the people that manufacture these products probably don't put it in their ears for long periods of time and try to actually be like, oh, this actually feels good, it looks good. It seems like they just make it, mass produce it, and then just send it out to the masses and hope you guys find it comfortable. Like it's a generic blueprint. But so far, if I listen to music for longer periods of time, I have to keep the battery life under 50% because it starts not breaking apart. But you could definitely hear like not this screeching, but the quality suffers. The higher the volume, the more the quality suffers. So you will get ear aches and pains possibly using this headset if you have it too loud. Again, it's each person's temperament is different. I don't like super loud noise, even though I turn it up for video purposes. I like things with noise cancellation and about 50%. These don't have noise cancellation. So understand that if you're on trains or buses, you are going to have to turn it up to drown out noise, but the quality of the music won't be as good. So to be honest, your eardrums might possibly be suffering because of that. But anywho, let's go on to the next section. So this is the section where we talk about the actual quality of the microphones during phone calls. So for people that don't know what I'm doing, I'm actually speaking to you in the BYBE156. That is the name of the headset. We discussed this earlier. This is how it's going to, in order to simulate a phone call without having an actual phone call, what I'm able to do is screenshot, and I'm actually using the speakers through the actual headset itself. So what you're hearing right now is how the audio is probably going to sound when speaking to an actual real person. Now, do understand that if you're underground in a subway, if you're in conditions where your Bluetooth connectivity might be bad, you will experience some type of screeching possibly on the other end, or you may not be able to hear the person correctly. That's just natural, especially if you're in areas that have terrible Bluetooth connectivity. But on the average, where I'm at right now, I'm above ground. I'm actually in the office. That's why you probably hear the echo. But just listen to the call quality itself. Listen to the clarity if it's there. Remember, I'm not listening to this. I'll hear this after this is recorded the same way you'll hear it when it's uploaded. So it won't spoil my opinion about the headset, or I won't have any biases toward anything. If you like the way this sounds, then you'll like the way your phone calls sound. Keep in mind the other aspects that we talked about during this video. Now, with that being said, let's do the closing argument to whether this is actually worth the asking price. So for the guys that skipped all the parts and went to, is it worth it? Let me give you a quick synopsis. You have a 4-hour battery life. You have 16 in the case to give you a total of 20. You have a battery indicator meter out here. The only reason it's flashing that way is because I'm recording through a camera. This won't be jittering like this. It'll be a solid light where you'll be able to see it just fine, right? USB-C is on this side. A little weird, but nothing too bad. You know, just you'll get used to it. The bad parts. The music is lackluster. Like I said, I gave it a 4 out of 5. It's a little bit below average. Reason being, the louder you turn it up, the more distorted it will get. Not so distorted where the music is breaking up all like crazy, but distortion as in you could tell that the music quality is suffering if you turn up the volume. I gotta be honest, that's exactly what I felt. Now, the rubber tips, like I talked about, are way too small for this headset, and it doesn't do it any justice. I had to switch my own personal ones onto this, and once I did that, the sound, the quality was much, much better by far. But I had to do this review and explain to you that this is what comes inside of it. These little small, minuscule, pitiful tips. And maybe for someone that has extra small ears to medium, it'll work for you. But because of the size of the headset itself, like I showed you before, this little section right here, because of this part right here being so big, this should have been cut down. There's no reason for this ear groove to be this big. It could be a little bit uncomfortable depending on who you are. And, you know, obviously wearing it is just fine. Some people will say, well, Ian, no, I wear it just fine. Sure. But for me, I have to personally press them deeper into my ear because the rubber tip on the end isn't that big. So the sound isn't being sealed into my eardrum like normal rubber earbuds. earbud tips. Instead, it's leaking, which makes the music quality suffer, which makes my ears suffer. So you need a better tip. And they should have gave you a better tip inside the box. They didn't. That's a little disappointing. But if you have a headset that you're not using anymore, and you have 2 rubber tips that you like, clean them off, put them on this one. It's going to dramatically change your listening experience. Just being honest here. Yes, they're worth $8. They have decent battery life. I cannot speak to the longevity of this headset because I only had it for about a week or so. So I can't speak to the longevity. Sometimes you get defective products, sometimes you don't. I've shown defective products on this channel at least once. I actually did a full video about it. And then I bought the same product, took it back, and then it was perfectly fine. And then I did a full review. So again, temper your expectations. It is $8 and it is Bytech. I'm not keeping them personally for myself because I have so many brands. Like I'm using a OnePlus phone. So I'm using OnePlus earphones right now. Got them for the regular price and got a second pair for cheap during Black Friday for like 30 bucks. So that's good enough for me. Noise cancellation, everything I got. But for the Five Below family, I think you will like this. If you have smaller eardrums, they're probably going to work for you. If you have bigger eardrums, you will have to bring your own rubber tips. But understand that you're not going to really find headsets that have 4 hours of battery life and then 16 inside of the case on a regular basis at Five Below. Normally it's 10 hours total, and then that's it. That's all she wrote. Teach your own. Anyway, like and subscribe like always, guys, and I will see y'all in the next video.